Greetings, dear precious spirit soul. My topic, the number one mistake everybody makes. You say, well, how could everybody make it? Well, every body is to believe that this physical body is who you are. And when you make that mistake, then everything is about this physical body. So what happens to you as a spirit soul? You see. So because everybody makes that number one mistake is to take on the identity of the physical body, you have to take back your identity, your ID, so your id, so to speak, to know who you are as a divine being. And you have a spiritual body. And that spiritual body has been dormant. And how we awaken that spiritual body is by activating our spiritual nature. And how we do that is we need to know that we have a spiritual body. We need to know what others who have done this process and gone through have done, who have left their clues for us, their steps for us that we can use and apply and liberate ourselves from all worldly and personal problems and conditions that cause suffering for animals and humans and all. This is not natural. That's not who we are. So the first key is everybody's making that number one mistake. They get caught up in what the body looks like, what we're wearing. Of course, we got to cover it up or do whatever. But it's always how many degrees, what groups that you're in, what's your political party, who you hate now, who you like now, what's your celebrities, what's your ball game, all of this stuff is narrative. It's all stories. And it all has to do with the physical body. So what for me works is when we are aware of who we are, then start living a sacred spiritual existence by transforming everything you do, called dovetailing what you do into a spiritual activity. So when I'm preparing food, we're mostly vegan vegetarians unless we can get the raw milk. And raw milk is wonderful. That's why it's outlawed. You don't get to know about what this kind of stuff. Anyway, and I'm not going to have a cow right now. I took care of cows. I love cows. They're the best. They're the greatest people. Anyway, so then eat food in the mode of goodness, okay? And move out of the food in the mode of ignorance and the eating of animals. You see. As long as the person is still doing that and believing they need that kind of flesh for their body, they don't understand. And then the body basically becomes a crematorium for dead bodies. And this is not good for the human body. We don't even have the teeth of digestion. But another thing, how we activate our spiritual body. Be self-regulatory, start noticing and trusting your own inner wisdom and knowing. Also start to notice more how the mind is taking you away and what it's doing and saying and how it's operating. And then what you're reading or what you're watching or using, how is that helping you to activate your spiritual body to know and be who you are, to be free of this suffering, to be more and more in that place of divine happiness and love that comes from knowing and being who you are as a giver. You are life itself. You emanate your light. You're not a light body. We don't serve the light or the dark. Our natural being emanates. That just turns into what you might call that light or a color. So anyway, the number one mistake everybody's been making, and they keep doing it all the time and think they're a meat body and that's all they are, and attach everything to the physicalness instead of to the soul and to the self. And many different paths have their suggestions on how to do that, and they all agree is the mind. And that's almost completely out there, especially in the ancient Indian and Chinese and Japanese and such and Asian teachings and philosophies. There's also a lot of the Native American Indians and other indigenous peoples who are very in tune with nature and the mystic and the divine operating through them in a most natural, magnificent, glorious earth experience, and being who they are. So, yes, no, you're not this body, you have it. You're not that mind, you have it. You don't have that intelligence. You have divine intelligence. You can say you have a divine mind, and you have a divine spiritual body. And when you do that, as you activate your spiritual body, the other body, the illusory body, begins to fall away. And then you're expressing who you are in the here and now.